So I just want to welcome you once again. It's just fantastic to have all of you joining this session, joining this CLM Summit, which is actually the 8th time we're hosting this. And we all know that if we go back to 2015 when it all began and when Configit and a number of customers made the declaration of CLM, we have worked so hard to get where we are today. And we become the leader in the CLM space. But in default, so have you. The people that are joining, our customers to become people that actually are looking into what CLM can do for them and their business. And over the next 2.5 days, boy, am I excited to be able to spend that time with you, to learn more, to see the trends, to hear about what customers have gained, to see some of the challenges that we have. But I think we're going to have a fantastic 2.5 days. So I'm really, really pleased to see that you are taking valuable time of your really, really busy agenda to join these 2.5 days. So Shahid mentioned a couple of things in his opening. He talked about the dynamic market requirements. So what are the trends? What's affecting where we are today? What's affecting product configuration or manufacturing of complex configurable products? Well, I just want to introduce some of them. I'm sure you have others, but there are some which are common and some which we need to actually plan for, to find solutions on, just making sure that we get the full benefit. So let me kick off with the first, economic uncertainty. Well, if we go back to end of 2019 or beginning of 2020, we were hit by the pandemic. And to some extent, it actually paralyzed the society, also for us as companies. We managed to get through that. We managed to find resolutions. We managed, in many ways, actually, we invented the digital transformation actually got some fuel and it accelerated. But we also saw that in just over a year ago, something else happened, the war in Ukraine. And with all the effects that it had, both on society and the uncertainty we live in, it's taking its toll. Right now, we see that if you go to the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, they talk about the growth in Europe and in the US going down considerably. We're actually looking on US dropping the growth from 2022 to 2024 by 50%. Europe, 70%. It's drastic. So companies today, they cannot longer rely on the normal growth as you expected. So when you talk about investments, they need to look for actually making other types of investments. They can't rely on more income. We need to look on operational excellence in a different way. So that's one of the kind of factors or dynamic market requirements that is there that we need to adhere to. What else do we have? Well, talking about supply chain resilience or supply chain, has that gone away? We've been fighting this semiconductor situation for quite many years. Are we now out of that? Well, I'm not sure. I can tell you that at least I didn't get all the features that I wanted with my car when I ordered the last one. So I don't think we're out of it. But there's other things that's happening as well in the same space. We see prices surge. We have a difficulty on forecasting prices. We do have challenges on the on things like trust. Actually, you see nations with the geopolitical situation we have. We have nations being skeptical on actually cooperating. So you can have issues with raw material or components that are actually not accessible anymore, or trade channel or trade routes that are being shut down. So that has caused some other things and some other effects. We see, for instance, that the investments in technology for supporting supply chain and operational efficiency, it's skyrocketing, and that will actually go on. So it's going from more than it was in the past. It was back-end investments, it was ERP systems, etc., and maybe customer-facing, customer engagement applications, that is now being down prioritized. And we see that supply chain is something that is key for us to fix. And we see that as well. We've been asked, how can you help? How can you support? How can CLM make that to work for me? The third one, I would say, is something that you're all being affected by. The sustainability. It's not longer any greenwashing. That's for sure not something we do. It's KPIs, it's measurements, it's things that we need to look for. And you get requests from your customers saying, okay, well, I'm not going to buy products from you unless you can show me your sustainability agenda, unless you can prove that you actually are adhering with what I want as a customer in terms of my sustainability demands. So if you could guide your customers to configure the best products, the most green products, that is something that is super important. And this is something that we read upon every day. Actually, it's interesting, Ernst & Young, they did a report, and they talk about another thing which we've been discovering and we've been trying to fight for a long time, and that's zero waste. So think about if you actually could engineer only products, configure products that you can sell, and you only sold things that you can manufacture, and you manufacture with zero waste. Think about the footprint that would have on your global sustainability agenda. Pretty powerful. And then the last thing is, of course, product complexity. And product complexity is everything from companies want to move from ETO to CTO. And why do they want that? Because customers basically are demanding more. They want more individual products. They want something that fits their agenda perfectly. So you need to find a way of your building blocks to mimic a ETO customer engagement, but with the effectivity of a CTO type of process. And then we have software. Software goes into all kind of products these days. It's basically a situation where it's no longer just hardware components and such things when you think about how to configure a product. It's much more about software. Software is your product. That's something that we hear from time to time when speaking to our customers. And how do you do that for the duration of the product? So it's not longer about when we sell it and when we manufacture it. That product can be living for a long, long time. That also has an effect on your sustainability. So that's something that you also need to think about. So if we combine these kind of product complexity, sustainability, supply chain, and the uncertain economic situation, we actually get into a much, much more different thinking that we need to take on. So mastering the product complexity across the enterprise is something that we need to do. It's basically on how you require a new way of thinking. It's not longer just one division doing their stuff. It's all about the product definitions that you can use across the organization. It enables, and it must enable, a new way of collaborating through the organization, through different processes. Multi-channel is just a very, very different type of thinking you need to have. And the effects, basically what it does, it creates a single source of definitions. And this is something that not just we say, that's something that also Gartner is talking about. They're talking about a composable product configurator, something that is a product configurator that can work with many different source systems and can connect to many different consuming systems. So it is a multi-purpose product configurator. And that's what CLM is all about. That's what we've been talking and preaching about for a long, long time. And that's what many of you as customers also have implemented. And you also see the result. You see the faster time to market. You see the cross-functional alignment. And you also see that there's much more higher quality in what you actually do, and you mitigate risk. Now, we wanted to take a little bit of a different approach to this. So we went to IDC and we said, can you ask a broader number of companies what product configuration really does for them? Can you talk not just to our customers, but others as well. So they conducted a study. And they conducted a study of more than 500 companies. And we've seen some of the preliminary results here already. And I'm just going to show you a couple of slides. This is basically one of them, which talks about what percentage of your organization's product offerings are currently meeting management targets. And they divided the group into 3 different buckets. So it's the top 20, the leaders. And then they have the middle, the centrists, and then they have the laggards. And it became super, super, super clear that if you use product configuration, if you thought about this, if this is in your strategy, your thought process, implemented, you get a much better result across the line. We also asked the financial impact. So are you making a better result? Are you, basically as a company, are you more healthy if you do this? And the result is pretty staggering. And you can see improved business agility, faster time to market, and improved customer satisfaction, all in all those areas. You are better off if you actually talk and think about CLM in your organization. We're going to talk much, much more about that, and when we have the full report, we're going to be able to share this, so stay tuned because it's pretty interesting read. Another company which we know of is Gartner. And Gartner just came out with a report, and they talk specifically about CLM. They talk about configuration and lifecycle management. And what they predict is that by 2026, 40% of the manufacturers are actually going to be transforming their business with the help of CLM. Just one more tick in the box that is going to happen and that will help. And that supports the future of meeting the market dynamics while actually maintaining efficiency and keeping costs down. So it's a great evidence that we are, and you are, on the right track. So now over the next 2.5 days, we're going to talk much more about that. You're going to hear from experts. You're going to hear much more from customers. And I want to give a specific thank you to the people you see on the screen now, which are going to help us. It's a pleasure and it's a joy, and I really am humbled to stand there and having the ability to share this 2.5 days with you. And thanks to our customers who are willing to share their story on what they've done and what they have seen in implementing CLM in their organization. So thanks once again. I hope you're going to have a fantastic 2.5 days, and we'll just crack on with the rest of the agenda.